Hey YouTube, want to talk about investing today. Mainly this is going to apply to military, but not just military. It can apply to anyone who is looking to invest. If you guys are looking to get out of debt or cash is king stuff, this channel and this video is not for you. This video is to pretty much make money through investing. And I don't mean make money in 20 years. I mean make money today. Okay? The way you make money is not by saving your cash or throwing in an IRA or a Roth or a TSP. I'm not saying those are bad things. I'm not saying it's not good to have those. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, and those are just one of the ways. Being in the military, the easiest way that I found is investing through real estate. I'm going to go into detail on that later, but right now, need to throw out the base here. In order to get a home loan to start investing, you have to be financially sound. And I'm not saying you can't have any car payments, you can't have a little bit of debt, but there's a thing called a debt to income ratio, and that's really harped on when they come to figuring your debt to income ratio for a home loan, whether it be VA or an FHA loan or something along those lines. There's tons of programs out there to get a home loan. Let's start out with VA. What the VA does is, VA says, since you're in the military or prior military, we will guarantee 25% of your loan to the bank. Excuse me. And what that does is, if they loan you $100,000, the VA steps in and says, hey, if this service member forecloses on his loan, we'll pay the bank $25,000, and then whatever they sell the house, they can keep whatever's left over, and it's just a guarantee to the bank that you're getting a loan. A lot of people say, oh, how do I get a loan through the VA? Well, you don't actually get a loan through the VA. You get a loan through the bank, and the VA just backs that. And I also hear a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't want to buy a house here. Why would I want to do that? There's two books that you should really read. The first one is Rich Dad Poor Dad. That'd be the first book that I recommend, the original. He has a lot of other one, Robert Kiyosaki. And then the second one is David Bach, Automatic Millionaire Home Ownership or Homeowner or something like that. In the first part of that book, he talks about a guy that was stationed in, it says Oakland, but it was Alameda, and he was in the Navy, and he bought his first house there, and he paid $50,000 using his VA. And 20 years down the line, this guy owns like 16 houses, and he never sold them, and now those are all rentals. And that brings my next point. When investing, if you invest on stock, whether it be gold or Coca-Cola or anything like that, you're buying like an object, a light bulb, a cell phone, something like that. So when you buy it, the way you make a profit is to have someone else pay more for it. When you're investing in real estate or a business, you buy it for a set amount. So say you buy a house for $100,000. I really don't care what that house is going to be worth in a year, 2 years, 3 years. I'm not saying you can't sell it, but you want to buy the house to make money from day one. Being in the military, you get BAH. So say you get $1,000 a month for BAH, and your house payment is $800. Well, rent in the area could be $1,200 a month. So when you go to transfer, PCS, whatever you want to call it, and you rent that house out for 1,200, and your payment's only 8 on top of your insurance and all that, property taxes all rolled in there. You'll be making a $400 a month profit. Now, this is kind of jumping ahead, but that leads us to the next thing. Oh, when I move, what am I going to do then? Well, you can buy another house, which is really cool with the VA. A lot of people don't know that. There's a few guidelines that you have to meet. They have guidelines for this. First house can be any price. Second house has to be above $144,000. And they charge you a higher funding fee. I think the first one's like 1%, and it's rolled into your loan. And then the second one's like, if you don't put 10% down, it's like 1.5%. So they tack a little on there. And then that gets into the VA loan limits for your county. California has higher loan limits in certain counties. Like LA County is probably like 650. Hawaii is like 700. Nantucket Island's like 1.5 million or something like that. It all depends on which county you buy in, and that kind of, you can kind of use that to your advantage when you buy. So say a guy is stationed in San Diego, so he buys his first house in the Midwest and he pays $50,000 for it. His wife's living there and she satisfies the VA requirements for that. And then a year later, or 6 months, she moves out to San Diego. They buy a house there for $400,000. Well, they've got $450,000. The limit is $417 in all the counties. Well, not in San Diego. It's higher significantly. And then so you have a $450,000 on your VA. A lot of people don't know about buying your second home on a VA. A lot of people will tell you that you have to sell your first home. You can't get another VA loan. It's bogus. It's called second tier entitlements. You can look it up. It's kind of some deep research that you have to get into, but it's been done. I've done it. This house that I'm living in right now is bought on a second tier entitlement. But you can use that second tier entitlement as long as you meet the county loan limit. So say he's stationed in San Diego, well, he gets transferred to Hawaii where the loan limit's like $700. He can still buy a $300,000 house. That's probably going to be pretty low end in Hawaii, but say the limit goes up to $1 million in Hawaii, you can buy a $400,000 house and you still got $150,000 left on his loan limit. And then there's other programs that you can buy, and these are all zero down. You can buy using the USDA zero down. You have to qualify for income, and most military members do. There's a ton of things. Just send me your questions, and I'll respond to those in turn. But back to investing, when you buy an asset, you want that thing to make you money from day one. There's a fine line between saving money and making money. I bought a rental in the Midwest, and my mortgage is $400 a month. Well, the whole thing rents out for $1,000, so I'm making $600 a month off of it. From day one when I rented it, it's making money. So if the property value goes up, property value goes down, rent will fluctuate, but not as drastically as the housing market. I bought a house in Southern California, and my payment was all told was like $1,500, and I rented it out for $1,700, and I was making $200 a month on it. Let the tenants live there for a year, 2 years. Housing market went up, and I needed the money, so I sold. But if I didn't sell, the property value would keep going up, and I'd still be receiving my $200 a month in rent. Most of the time, when you sign a tenant to a contract, it's either going to be a year or 6 months, and you're pretty much guaranteed that income. There's a lot of factors that go into that too, but when you diversify and you have more rentals that are producing income like that each month, especially when you get out to the Midwest, there's nothing new there. The style of investing out there has always been buy it and then rent higher than what your payment is, or even if you snag a deal and you get cash for it, you're making 10% interest on your cash a year at a minimum, maybe more than that, maybe 20-30% interest a year on the money that you have tied up in your loan, so in 3 years, 4 years, you got your money back, and then that's completely an asset. Rich Dad Poor Dad goes into saying, what's an asset, what's a liability? An asset's going to make you money, a liability is going to cost you money, no matter what. So all my rentals, they're assets. And, businesses fall in the same categories. You need to buy a business that produces. You don't need to worry about how much it's worth. If the stock market shut down and you have, $100,000 in there in stocks, well, those stocks are only worth what somebody else is going to pay for them. But if you own a business and it's valued at $10,000, but you're making $1,000 a month on it, you don't really care what your business is valued at. So you need to worry about how much you're making. And that's really all I have for this video. Just wanted to get this out here and, get the conversation started. Thing is not to be scared. And you just need to jump in head first and start investing in something that's going to make you money. If you're in housing, a lot of those people, Lincoln Military Housing, they will allow you to get out of your contract. I think they sign you to a 6-month contract. When you move in, if you buy a house, I think they exempt you from that. That's kind of like a military bonus there. And so say you buy a house and you're living in it and you're saving $200 a month, and you're like, well, if I rent it out, I'll make $200 a month, or $400 a month. You can move back into base housing and then live there for 2 or 3 months. If you want to do this, it's pretty hectic. It's a lot of work. Don't get me wrong, houses take maintenance, they have upkeep, and you just have to stay on top of it, and it pays off. It really does. But you can move into base housing and then buy another house while you're in base housing and move into that. So you're stationed somewhere for 3 years, you live in the first house for a year, move on to base housing for 6 months, and then you find another house for a really good deal that you can make money on when you move, and you finish out your contract there, 3 years, 4 years, however long you're stationed there, and by the end of that, you're making money, man. And if you just don't sell your houses and you just keep them, and you're making $200, $300, $400 a month off a house, $600 off a house in my case, and you do that everywhere you go, you'll be making money, and eventually you'll exhaust your VA. And like I said, there's other programs. FHA, which is like 3.5% down. So on a $200,000 house, you're looking at $6,000, $7,000. And, that's really not that bad. But if there's any more questions about requirements or anything like that, I can definitely answer those. Definitely, it's going to vary depending on your lender. Your credit score has a lot to do with that, and all that stuff. But just keep on keeping on, and subscribe. I'm going to have a lot more videos coming out, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks a lot. Navy Hacks out.